Hey Sky fam, it's your girl Ariel. Welcome to Vlogtober, and this is a flight attendant hiring alert. JetBlue Airlines is currently hiring for flight attendants under the in-flight crew application. While I usually do hiring alerts for the 4 biggest airlines in the US, those are the 3 legacies and Southwest, I did want to add in JetBlue because they are not always hiring. And personally, as a passenger, I actually love the airline. Now, JetBlue is definitely striving to grow and get bigger. You may have seen in the news that they were trying to merge with other airlines. They have had certain contracts with other airlines in order to allow them to go to Europe and things like that. They also fly to London now. They have quite a bit of international flying between the Caribbean, South America, and Central America. So it is definitely an airline that is growing, even though they're considered a budget carrier. Now, if you don't know much about JetBlue, but you know you want to become a flight attendant, I definitely would say apply. Let's get into some of their minimum requirements. You need to be at least 21 years old at time of application. You need to have at least a high school diploma or GED. You should have at least 2 years of customer service experience, and this does have to be face-to-face experience. It can't be something like telecommunications or on the phone. It does need to be in person. If you are hired, you do have to be able to complete their 5-week training program in Orlando, Florida. There is not a height nor weight requirement like any and all US carriers, but you should be able to reach the height of 6'3". If you are a foreign applicant, you do have to already have the ability to work within the US because they do not sponsor visa or anything like that. You do already have to have the ability to work in the US to have their minimum requirements to be hired. You need to be in possession of a passport that has at least 12 months of validity still on it. So if it's expired, if you don't have one, make sure that you go ahead and take care of that. If you think this is at all a career choice you want to do, go ahead and get your passport done. And if your passport is expiring soon, like less than 12 months, every carrier wants you to have at least 12 months. Some want you to have 18, some even more. So if your passport is expiring anytime soon, go ahead and renew it. If you don't have one, go ahead and apply. You have to be flexible with your schedule, being willing to work on holidays and whatever reserve schedule is given out to you. You must also be able to work at any of their bases. If this information has been helpful, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. They have 7 bases, which is a lot less than a lot of other carriers. Their bases are Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Boston, Newark, JFK, LAX, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. If you receive a CJA, you will have to pass a 10-year background check and be able to pass a Department of Transportation drug test, okay? To get a step ahead on other applicants, some preferred qualifications that they have is a bachelor's degree, again, that 2 years of customer service, and prior emergency management experience. So this is anybody that has any experience in like the military or any type of medical field like nurses and things like that. So their base pay starts at $26.03. They top out at 13 years and their top out pay as of now is $69.90. which is pretty comparable. United's current starting pay right now is $28.88 and their starting pay is $26.03. So it's a difference of about $2 and some change. So it is comparable to like some legacies in mainline carriers. If you are interested in applying for them, this is kind of what their interview process is going to look like. You're going to fill out your application. Once you get past that, you'll have an assessment. Then you'll do a virtual interview, and then you'll have your face-to-face interview. Remember, hearing nothing is better than hearing something. Once you hear a thanks but no thanks, then you'll have to wait to reapply, or you will hear that you got your CJO either at your face-to-face or after. Once you receive a CJO, then you will attend training in Orlando, Florida, and that will take 5 weeks. Training is paid and your accommodations are taken care of as well. They kind of have like a university type setup. So they have the lodge where they have housing for their trainees, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like college housing. And then they also provide you a food card for you to get your meals within that place as well. Now, I don't believe that they fly you out to their final interview, which is most likely going to be in Orlando. This is something that is very different from mainline airlines. Those big 4 do pay for your flight to your final interview, but I don't believe JetBlue does. So that is an expense you will have to take out of your own pocket. There is only certain routes, obviously you don't, since they're not flying you out, you don't have to fly on them. But if you're flying out for the interview and the routes make it that you have to stay the night or something like that, or come a night early to be there first thing in the morning for the interview, then that hotel expense will also be on you. Once you are at your day of compliance or your face-to-face interview, you're going to go through your interview process. You're going to do a jump seat simulation. Basically, this is to make sure that you can sit and buckle up safely in the jump seat, that you can reach those needed areas and have just kind of that connection and networking so that they can see you in your natural state. So while they do not fly you out for the interview, they do fly you out for training. So for them, once you get a CJO, you're basically an employee, which is very different from other airlines. Most airlines, you're not an employee until you graduate from training. But with JetBlue, you are considered an employee basically from the moment you start training. So because of that, they do fly you out for training. One benefit at being at JetBlue is that you do not have to pay for your uniforms. Now, I know this probably sounds crazy, especially if you're new to the industry or have no type of knowledge of the industry at all, but a lot of airlines, you actually do pay for your uniform. So at my regional, I didn't. When I came to mainline, I did have to pay for my uniform, and it basically comes out of your paycheck automatically. It was like $50 a month until it was paid off. So personally for me, I got the bare minimum because once you're there for like 6 months, we got a stipend, and we get a stipend every year to supplement our uniform. And so to me, it makes more sense to spend as little in training so that you're not like spending thousands of dollars on our uniforms and you can actually get all the pieces that you really do want on the company after the fact. However, even at my regional, they did not provide us with our luggage. I believe JetBlue does provide you with your luggage, so that is very, very nice. If your uniform and your luggage is compensated by the company, that definitely is a benefit. While you're in training, you will be able to bid for what bases that you want. Again, there are those 7 bases. The most junior bases are Boston and JFK. Now, there are junior and senior bases. Typically, new hires will be placed in more junior bases, so it's likely that you will be based in Boston or JFK coming out of training, but you can be placed in any 7 of their bases, just depending on what current needs they have at the time. You will put your bid in your preference, but let's just say that you want JFK and that's your number 1, but they put you in Boston. You can put a transfer in to get in there later, depending on the shifts that are going on within the company, what is available, and how people are moving. That will determine when you will be able to get your transfer in. But being a commuter is a way of life as a flight attendant sometimes, and I do have multiple videos on commuting if that's something that you are going to have to deal with. You are on probation for your first 6 months of being hired, which is very normal. During that time, it basically means like you have to be perfect. Like you really can't call out. You don't really have the backing of the union yet. When you start off at JetBlue, you will be on reserve. They are on a reserve system, so that means you will be on reserve until you're able to hold a line. Until you are able to hit the top percentage in each base, not in the company as a whole, you will be on reserve. This is kind of rough, I will be honest, but it is the reality at most airlines, so it's just something that we kind of have to deal with in this industry. Now, when you are on reserve, you are guaranteed 75 hours of your reserve schedule. So I get a lot of questions about the transition of people are pivoting careers. So 75 hours is for the month. It's not for the week. It's not for bi-weekly. 75 hours for the month. That is sometimes hard to conceptualize if you come from a 9 to 5, but that is a normal schedule for basically any flight attendant across the board. Of course, you can gain more hours than that if you're willing to pick up, but that is typically about the average of the bottom line that you will see any flight attendant having starting out that is scheduled to you by the company. That is a quick rundown of their requirements, their hiring process, their starting pay, and their basis. If you have any questions about JetBlue, please feel free to leave your comment in the comment section below with those questions. I do one-on-one calls to help you prepare for your interview process. If this is something you're new to, if you have applied multiple times but you have not gotten through, or if you just need help in refining your answers so you can finally get that face-to-face, you can book a one-on-one with me, and I will leave my website in the description box below so that you can book with me for a one-on-one call. This is Vlogtober, and I will be posting daily. If you have any questions about the hiring process, flight attendant life, reserve, commuting, being a content creator, a travel content creator, how I pitch to hotels, how I put together travel itineraries, anything at all, feel free to drop in the comment section. I will try to get to all of your questions and all of your video ideas within the month. I need all the ideas I can get because this is a daily upload for 31 days, so God help us. Good luck on receiving a CJO with JetBlue. If you have any questions at all, make sure you leave them in the comment section. Until next time, bye Sky fam.